So right now, I want to tell you a story. So earlier this year, Pastor Tim had been talking to a few excavators about getting some significant work done out in the parking lot. Like if you've been around the parking lot in the warmer winter days, or the spring days, or the fall days, or 75% of the summer days, then you know the parking lot is a train wreck. There's water everywhere. It's a mess. It's not an easy place to walk through. So he had been in contact with a couple excavators just about what we could do with it, and had some bids for some significant work to be done out in the parking lot. And so the Board of Administration spent some time looking at those bids, and in our discussions, someone brought up, maybe we should talk to the contractors that we've hired for the building project and just make sure that whenever land development would happen for the building project, that we're not going to end up tearing up something that we just spent money on, because wasting money is bad. So Pastor Tim made that contact. This was now like a couple weeks before Easter. And the building contractors looked over our parking lot plans, and they go, "Oh yeah, we're going to wreck that." They said, "Yeah, we would be messing that up when we did the land development for the building project." And so, okay, well, shoot. So the conversation continues from there. And the contractors looked at the land development plans, and we're working on updating those, because it had been a little bit since those had been reviewed and since those had been updated. And so they took a look at those, and the day after Easter, the board met with the contractors to talk about those land development plans and to see where things were at. And then we had some time for some work to be done. And then just this past Monday, the BOA reviewed some numbers on the land development for the building project. And so right now, we're really happy to say that through your giving to the building fund and through the grace of God, we have enough cash on hand to start the land development and infrastructure for the building project this summer. Yeah. So that's without borrowing any money, and the BOA, with Pastor Tim's full agreement, he's watching online, hey, the BOA voted to take that step. So what this is major excavation out in the parking lot. A lot of the things we talked about with handling water out in the parking lot and moving water and those kinds of things, that's part of this whole shebang. So that's part of the equation here, storm drains and things like that, but we're talking major excavation of the hillside out in the youth building. Again, we're talking all that water management. There's changes that need to be made to the electric service to prepare, so that affects all the buildings on the property that needs to be done. Major work done to the septic system and those kinds of things. And this is this piece of the puzzle will take a majority of the summer at the end of the day. Depending on when we start, we're talking 8 to 12 weeks is what this is going to take to complete. So the contractor right now, aside from getting us ready to rock and roll on this, he's going back and he's reviewing the numbers on what would happen after this. That's erecting the building and finishing out the building and all that kind of stuff. And we'll need to have conversations about how we fund that portion of the project. But we're pretty excited. This summer, potentially even by the end of this month, dirt is going to move in that parking lot. So all this has been a long journey. Some of you who have been here since we started talking about it, it's been a long journey, and we're grateful for the faithfulness of God and your faithfulness in giving. A while back, we bought the building supplies that you can see out here in the parking lot, and that's because we knew everything was going up in price. And so we bought those supplies to kind of lock in that price so we wouldn't have to pay more. We paid cash for those. Now we're able to pay cash for the land development and infrastructure. Yeah. So Like, it's really good to be able to do this without borrowing any money yet, right? Like, this is a good thing. So, up here on the altar, since November 29th, has been a blue prayer request card that has said, pray for the building project, for the finances, and that we can move forward with it. So this has been up here since November. During our first round of 30 days of prayer, this conversation starts about the parking lot and into the conversation with the contractors, and this begins to germinate right before Easter as we're wrapping up that first round of 30 days of prayer. And while we're in the midst of the second round of 30 days of prayer, so this prayer request gets to go back on the altar because we still need to be praying for this stuff to finish the thing. But we also get to put a yellow card that says land development infrastructure is happening this summer. Yeah. I hope you're excited. Yeah, because you know what? We are. I am. I told Pastor Tim I felt bad that he wasn't the one up here making this announcement because, shoot, this has been on his plate and the board's plate for a long time, as it has been on our plate as a church, right? It's really awesome to see God working through faithfulness and through his desire for us as a church. So listen, I know that you probably have a lot of questions, like maybe you're like, I don't even know what we're talking about with the building project. I thought something fell down over there. So maybe you've got questions and you want to know what that's all about, and it'd be really great to take the next 3 weeks and explain the whole thing to you from the platform, but we'll save that for conversation, so feel free, like you can grab me after service or at a later time just to talk through some of that, or grab any of the board members to talk about it, but this is a really awesome thing, and you'll be hearing more and you'll be seeing more. Like, that's the thing, like, you've heard more for a long time, and this summer you're going to see more, and that's what we're excited about.